Hey everybody, it's your boy, Captain Hunter, aka Big L PhD. If you are wondering where the Big L comes from, I am not some 6'10" dude. My son is named after me. So therefore he is Little L and I am Big L, even though he's a grown man. So that's where the Big L comes from, if you were wondering. Again, so I'm a retired police officer, went back to school, just recently completed my PhD, and I wanted to have some conversations, like we're sitting in the car having conversations about what my PhD journey was like. Now, I haven't done a lot of research. This is going to be overly scholarly and all that. It's a conversation about my journey, kind of like a video vlog about what I dealt with, went through, and all that kind of stuff. So today's topic, I wanted to talk about how to pick a subject for your dissertation. And I guess one could say there's really kind of 2 or 3 schools of thought. Now, here's the schools of thought that I was told about. First one is I talked to I talked to the chair of the entire department. So I did I was in leadership studies. It's chilly out today, man. Connecticut weather, huh? So I was part of a leadership studies with a concentration in criminal justice. So what that means is that it's exactly that. So I have a leadership PhD, but the focus is concentration in criminal justice. So I had to write a dissertation that really kind of dealt with law enforcement or criminal justice system and its leadership, right? So I couldn't do something on, how police officers drive fast and what that does to their psychology, or I had to do something about supervision, leadership, administrative policies, practices, etc. That's what I had to do something about. In police departments, corrections office, agencies, border patrol, anything criminal justice related. So I talked to the chair. What is up with this? Gotta get some heat going here. So I talked to the chair of the criminal justice department. He said that, when you're doing these types of things, you really don't want to do anything that is, that you're overly attached to, I would say. I'm trying to paraphrase what he said. Because, can I get over to him? You don't mind, do you? Because it has the potential to be ripped apart by your committee members and by the quality controller, or whatever. So you don't want to do anything that's going to be overly attached to, right? And also you don't want to be looking for data, confirmation bias and all that. You don't want to be looking to confirm it. And that comes out in your survey questions, interview questions, and all that kind of thing. You're looking to confirm your bias. So he's like, stay away from anything that you're going to be overly committed to. And I said, in conversation, I said, well, I heard the exact opposite, right? So this would be bringing to point number 2, do something that you are passionate about, write about something that you're passionate about. So he said, no, and exactly went back to that. And I said, yeah, okay. Well, I had heard that you really should do something you're passionate about. So he explained what he's explained. So those are really the 2 schools. And the third one that I would throw in there is somewhere in the middle, right? Do something you want to do, but not overly committed to, and make sure you remain dispassionate about it, and make sure that you remain neutral and all that. So that would be my recommendation. So the way that I came up with my dissertation topic, I'm not going to really discuss that here because I'm still looking to get published and all that kind of stuff. So I don't want anybody out there trying to steal my stuff and all that. So until it's really, really published, even though it's been signed off and all that, and I'm sure it's in the system, as it were, so people can't plagiarize it. I still kind of want to watch it with that. So the way that I picked my topic was I just kind of was just brainstorming, do different things, and the recommendation that I had from the chair of the criminal justice department was to read over different dissertations, things that may interest you, and all that. So I started reading over some things, in different dissertations, different journals, academic journals, supervisory criminal justice related, and just kind of developed and formulated a plan about how to go about doing that. So that was really the methodology that I took in order to get that done. And after reading some things, and you start to develop some mindsets, right, about where you want to go. Some people walk into their programs and know exactly what they want to talk about as concerning their dissertation from day one, right? This is what I want to do. I want to talk about this on my dissertation. I didn't know that. I mean, so every program is going to be different, right? So at the school I went to, the program was 2 years of education, 2.5 years, 2.5 years of education. Yeah, 2.5 years of education of core courses and concentration courses, and then the last year was all dissertation work, your literature review, your surveys, etc. So up until I started reading in the first semester of the dissertation process, I still had no idea what I wanted to write about, because I was taking the advice of I don't want to write any. Now I had some ideas, but I want to make sure that I remained neutral and I didn't have that I would not allow my passion to overwhelm me. These are just different strategies. You have to develop whatever your strategy will work for you. What I say that is necessary that you should not write about was my chair's instructions correct? I would not say that. I think it was good advice. This guy's freaking slamming on the brakes in the middle of the highway. I think it was good advice, but not something that should be hard and should be a hard and fast rule that people must abide by. So I think you should take it kind of with a grain of salt as you go along here. What else? So is it best? That's why I hate driving in the morning, man. People just drive nuts. God, dog. You're already late. You're going to cause an accident. Already late, man. Swerving and cutting people off. So I would say to do whatever. I don't think there's anything wrong with doing something that you're passionate about, because you can build, when you finish your project, when you finish your dissertation, you will understand that there's so many different avenues to go into. There's so many different things to talk about. There's so many different papers to be written. You can really build a career off of what your research is. You can take it so many different directions. And that was made apparent to me during my defense. They're like, listen, you got so much work that can be done here. You can follow this and keep going and keep going and keep going with this. And so I would say it's okay to do something that you are passionate about. There's nothing wrong with that and all that. So don't be afraid of that happening. What else? So I think that's really it. Those are the three things, right? Dispassionate, make sure that you're not overly invested in it. I think that what good advice is making sure that you're overly invested in it. If the numbers don't work out the way that you anticipate them, if you're doing qualitative or quantitative research, if you are doing something and talking about something and the numbers happen to go in the wrong direction, right? Your null hypothesis is and all that kind of stuff, right? If it's don't start rerunning the numbers and that's what they're talking about that's what he's talking about with the stake in it. You just have to follow the data. You have to follow whatever's coming out. And I had to, and that was part of mine too, right? I will talk about it a little bit. Is that my research analysis? I was interviewing supervisors, so I had to adjust my questions because the questions I had to adjust them because there started to be the assumption that these things were happening. The assumption that that supervisors were actually engaging in this type of behavior. I was assuming that, and so I had to back off and say, wait a minute. I'm assuming the way that I operated as a supervisor is the way that other supervisors will continue to operate. There's so much apathy now, so much lack of motivation within law enforcement. People are just looking forward to their retirements. They don't want to engage. They want to de-police, be proactive. Be reactive instead of proactive. All this type of stuff and lingo and stuff. So I had to really adjust my questions and make sure that they were absolutely neutral. So that was the big thing. So let me wrap this put a bow on this here. So to answer the question, how do you go about developing a dissertation topic? I think you got to start early. Try to figure out what you want to talk about as you're going through your core and concentration courses, or however your system and program is set up. Start realizing, analyzing, thinking about things that you could be passionate about, where you want to take the research, the path that it's going to go. You want to look at holes and gaps in the research. A lot of peer-reviewed academic articles will talk about that. The need for progress in this area, need for progress in that area. We need to take a look at this. Here's a gap in the literature. Here's a hole in things along those lines, right? And maybe you can be the person that really fills that hole and all that. So those are the things that you want to take a look at. Those are things that you want to analyze. So, take it for what it's worth. Take it for what it is. Yeah, so you want to take it for what it is. Analyze the research, the data, and look for any types of holes and gaps in the literature. Do the best you can to fill it. You should. It's good to start early, but be flexible to adjust it. Because you got to get approval from from different student or administrative practices, whether it's your internal review board, your IRB, your chair. You got to write about something that you can actually, is there data about it? A lot of times, if you want to do something really, really novel, right? They want this extensive literature review. They being the school, the administration, your chair, they want an extensive literature review, right? Literature reviews are essentially, I think something like between 40 and 60 pages, right? That's what mine was, right? And that's what when you Google, how long does a literature review be? It's usually between 40 and 60 pages. So you want to take a look at all that kind of stuff and make sure that you are hitting these particular marks. So if you want to do some novel literature and you don't have the literature review, you can't, if the literature is dearth, there's not a lot of it. You might not get approved, right? Your council, your committee, your chair might not approve it. They don't want novel stuff, right? The dissertation process is really, you're supposed to contribute new knowledge to the bot, but they want to know that you can write, right? This is all a big practice of writing, and can you follow directions, and can you take instruction, and can you take constructive criticism, and that's more of what it is than adding to the body of literature. There's, once you get your degree, you can do whatever you want. You're a doctor now, and you can take your literature, your advice and counsel to wherever you want to take it to. But they want to know, can you follow directions, right? So this whole thing about creating new bodies of work and evidence and all this, don't think along those lines. And I'm not telling people to think outside the box, but depending on, I would say it really depends on your chair. It really depends on what they want, what they think, what they feel, and all that kind of stuff. So a lot of these people, I'll say that for another video. Let me know your thoughts, your opinions. Much love and peace about how you created your dissertation, or how you develop your dissertation topic.